In the last video, we explored the high-level architecture and showcased a full demo of the business travel agent I built using Copilot Studio. In this video, we will dive deeper into how I actually built this agent. We will walk through the Copilot Studio, reviewing the instructions, knowledge sources, and actions I configured to bring this agent to life. So let's get started. Okay, so first we need to access Copilot Studio and click on the Agents section. And from here, we select Copilot for Microsoft 365. Next, let's click the Agents tab to view all available agents. And here it is, our Business Travel Buddy agent. So, when building an agent, it's always important to provide a detailed description and clear instructions as well. For example, as you can see here, many of the instructions provided define the agent's scope. In other words, they specify the functionality the agent will deliver, like offering guidance on travel policies, approved hotels, and airlines. Also, it's equally important to include specific instructions on how the agent should respond to users. For instance, I have specified here that if a knowledge source does not provide an answer, refrain from inventing one or rely solely on accurate available information. Additionally, you can define which plugins the agent should use for certain tasks and outline the steps it should follow when addressing specific topics, like the one specified here. All right, so the next step is to configure the knowledge sources. In this case, I have added two SharePoint knowledge sources. Let's explore the first knowledge source. In this case, I have added the URL of the Agent Creation Hackathon site. This will allow me to get access to all the details and information about this particular event. Let's return. And now let's explore the HR policies site. In this case, as you can see here, I'm using the URL of a specific folder instead of a complete site. And this folder has a document, the Travel Guidance FAQ. This document will have all the details that I can use related to travel guidance or travel policies. Now that we have configured the knowledge sources, it's time to add the actions to perform specific tasks. Okay, so now let's start exploring the actions. Let's start by exploring the AI prompts. In this case, I have 3 AI prompts. Let's explore, for example, the list approved airlines. When I click here, you will see the details of the AI prompt, the action name, the display name, and the description. This is super important so the agent knows how and when to use this particular prompt. And then we can explore the inputs and outputs. In this case, there are no specific inputs. If we go to the other action, the list approved hotels, we will see a very similar experience because these prompts are very similar. We don't have required inputs, and we will receive a text as an output. Now, let's explore in more detail how these prompts were built. To do that, we will go to the library section and then click on prompt. And here we will see the different prompts I have created previously. For example, let's explore one of them, the list approved airlines. This will open the details of the prompt, and if I click edit, I will have the opportunity to review how this prompt has been built. We see again the action name and description, super important. And if we go to the next page, we will see the complete prompt. As you can see, this is a very simple prompt. It's basically asking me to get details of approved airlines in a table format organized alphabetically by airline name. and is including specific fields. And as you can see here, these fields come from a specific Dataverse table, which is the approved airlines table. And if we go again back to the library section and click on prompt, let's explore the hotels, list approved hotels prompt. And we will see that this is a very similar prompt. In this case, we are displaying the approved hotels with a specific fields from the hotels table. Now, those two were very simple prompts, but let's explore a more complex one. In this case, let's explore the business travel itinerary prompt. I'm gonna click on edit. As you can see, I'm providing enough details in the description, so my agents know when to use this particular prompt instead of others. And in this case, you will see that this prompt is more advanced. I am providing a very specific instructions of what information I want this prompt to return. And you will notice a difference. In this case, I'm using several input fields that I can configure here. These fields include, for example, the city, the event start date and end date, start time and end time, hotel address, and itinerary preferences. I, of course, can test this prompt here, and that's the reason why I'm providing some sample values. But you can customize. In this case, we are not using a Dataverse table, we are just using input fields. And when I use this particular prompt, you will see that the agent is basically asking for these required fields to provide a more precise and answer. Copilot Studio allows us to choose from thousands of Power Platform connectors to configure as actions. Now, as you can see here, I'm using a third-party connector, the MSN Weather connector, to get the forecast for today. If I click here, I will see the details. This is particularly a Power Platform connector that I can act as an action. As you can see, I'm very similar to the previous examples. I have an action name, display name, and description, super important for the agent to know when to use this particular action. And I have inputs. In this case, I have the possibility to configure the values for those inputs. For example, for units, I am specifying a value here. However, for location, this information is going to be captured dynamically based on the inputs provided by the user to the agent. And in the case of outputs, I can also specify, I have here, as you can see, 39 output fields. However, I can remove and specify which fields I am interested in. Now, what happens if I want to connect to a corporate system, but there isn't a connector available? In that case, I can create a custom connector, which acts as a wrapper to configure how I interact with the system through an existing API. For the currency conversion capability, since there are no third-party connectors available there, I'm using an external API. And in order to query that external API, I have created a Power Platform custom connector that you can see here. If we click here, we will see that the experience is very similar to other connectors. I also have an action name, display name, and descriptions. And here I can specify the input fields and the output fields. Finally, let's talk about submitting a travel booking request. This request will be stored in a SharePoint list that I have previously created and configured. Now, for building the capability to create a new travel booking request, first it's important to mention that I have created a SharePoint list. The list name is travel request. And as you can see, this list has several fields, including the requester name, email, department, destination, travel start date and travel end date, and more, including, for example, hotel preferences and others. So what I did is I created a very simple SharePoint connector to submit that information to the list. So when I click here, this will open the connector, and you will see that if we go to the inputs field, there are two important fields that I have configured manually. One of them is the site address, and the other one is the list name. Then for the rest of the fields, as you can see here, most of them are captured dynamically based on the information provided by the user. The other functionality that I have implemented is basically a Power Automate flow. So once that SharePoint record is stored in the SharePoint list, I am executing a Power Automate flow, a very simple flow that basically captures that information and send a notification as an active card. Alright, that was a quick overview of how this agent was built. If you're interested in more videos like this, or would like a step-by-step tutorial on building Declarative Agent in Copilot Studio, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.